We're almost there, guys.
This is 8. We're number yeah, we're almost there. Number 8. Okay, this movie is bad because it was made 10 years too late. This is the 90s movie that, like, those other ones we talked about being in the 90s, this one should have been there. Because this feels like Scream. It's MTV Generation written all over it.
Except Scream is, like, super self-referent. Like, it's self-aware. That's the whole point of it.
But what I mean is, like, teenager slasher flick. This is, like, this is right there.
I mean, I didn't see this, but, like, there's no way that this was self-aware, like, knowing that it was 10 years too late or something.
Well,
like,
you want to talk
fun of, like, a movie from the 90s
No,
or
but if
anything?
you want to talk about being self-aware, holy shit. So, also, by the way, 7, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. It has 24 minutes of deleted scenes. Like, that movie was already too much, and it had like almost a half an hour worth of scenes that went farther. Ugh. So, sorry. And then the theme with 7 is be careful what you wish for, right? Like, I want, like, eternal life in this thing, but he even says it, I think, like, Pinhead comes out and is like, you should have been smarter about what you asked for, because you get more than you bargained for. Whatever. So, 8. 8's a bad movie.
Eight's where you're going to admit is a bad movie?
8's a bad movie for all the wrong reasons, because I actually liked 8. Okay, 8. This is where the...
How many of these movies would you watch again?
All of them.
No fucking
Like, what
way.
do you mean? Like, if they made another 9, would I watch 9 more?
No. I mean, like, all the ones that you've watched, how many of them would you actually revisit?
Like, how much... Like, from beginning to end, none. Except for maybe the first one, and maybe 2. I wouldn't need to watch 5 or 6 because I already know the twist. 8, I would watch bits and pieces of. Because it's fun.
Okay.
It's a fun movie.
All right, go ahead.
So Superman's in this movie.
That's right! You were telling me that! What's the actor's name?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill's his fucking movie!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So,
are you sure about this? Did you actually double check?
Here's the thing I want to tell anyone who wants to be an actor or actress in Hollywood. You can get a blowjob on camera in a horror movie, direct-to-video shitty horror movie, and still one day become fucking Superman.
Yeah.
Not like, I made a better career out of myself. He became fucking the Man of Steel.
And if Brandon Ruth hadn't ended up on Arrow, you could say the opposite.
Who cares? He was in Scott Pilgrim. He was great there, so shut up.
That's right. He was. I love Brandon Ruth.
Yeah,
I didn't mean it, Brandon Ruth.
He's also the
Brandon Ruth's gonna listen to this.
He's also the gay guy in Zack and Miri. So he's great. Perfection.
I love Brandon Ruth. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Routh.
Okay.
So there's a scene in this movie where Superman, okay, he's not dressed as Superman, right? But it's Superman.
That's why I was so fucking confused. You told me, like, Superman gets a blowjob in Hellraiser 8. I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm going to have to skip ahead and watch this one.
Sorry, this is the movie that's adapted from the Dark Can't Breathe short story. Where it's basically, okay. So this one is so Hellraisered out, it is stupid, but in a good way. They play an online game called Hell World, and it's about the Box, Pinhead, all the lore, Leviathan, all the lore that's in all the other movies, they made into a game. So it's like completely, like, everyone knows who Pinhead is. Everyone knows who the Box is. It's a popular online MMORPG, whatever. So it kind of fourth wall. Pinhead doesn't exist in the real world. This is just a game. There's a group of friends that play the game. One of them goes crazy and kills himself. Burns himself alive in his basement after digging a hole, which I guess he dug the hole so maybe he wouldn't burn the house down. I don't know.
That was so thoughtful.
I don't know why he dug the hole first. He poured gasoline on himself, whatever. So this is what I like to talk about. So basically, the friends are at his funeral. The younger brother of the guy is like, fuck you guys, it's your fault that he died. And they're like, no, we just played this game, man. We didn't make Adam do this. Like, it's his own fault.
You remember his name?
Yeah, sorry. They say it a lot, whatever. And it's his girlfriend, and the girlfriend's hot. Like, in the beginning, you're like, she's okay looking. By the end of the movie, you're like, she's pretty attractive. I would totally, like, if you hear this, call me up. You're attractive. And also, she does karate in real life or, like, martial arts. And so there's a scene in the movie.
You totally fucking, like, after this movie, like, it's like a rap by AMTP.
I just hope she's listening so she can just, get a hold of me.
Creeper.
But she does martial arts in the movie, and it's actually her that does it. I watched some of the special features.
She, like, karate chop Pinhead?
No, Lance Hendrickson.
Maybe she fights the 2 Asian guys.
Maybe she was one of them, right? Whatever. It's just impressive that she does it. And any girl that does stuff like that on her own instead of trying to be cool and actually, like, does that, that's cool. I appreciate that a lot. Anyways, so they play this game, and they get out of it after their friend's death. They get back into it, and they're calling their friend like, hey, we just got invited to the Hell World party because we solved the box. We opened the box in the game. And once you open the box, you get invited to the Hell World party. Woo! It's where all the cool debauchery happens. And these are like supposed to be like 19, 20-year-olds or something like that, but I don't know. They're young, and they're like going to parties, and they want to see like titties and stuff.
So they're cool and going to parties, but they're also way into MMORPGs.
Yes, it's whatever.
One of the many flaws.
So the ex-girlfriend, she keeps getting hit on by Superman. And she's like, you don't have a chance, stop, whatever. So he has a thing for her. And then the other two characters seem like they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but they're not because they joke a lot about banging, but like they kind of like each other. But whatever, it's weird. They don't ever explore that. So they all go to this party. They end up convincing the ex-girlfriend to go as well because she's like, I wouldn't miss it for the world. The Hell World. Yeah. So they go to this party out in the woods in this big mansion. Lance fucking Hendrickson is the guy who's throwing the party. He's like Mr. Hell World. He knows all the stuff. He has all the props. He has this great, cool haunted house with big lament configurations and like all this crazy stuff.
Lance Henderson trying to get into every single horror franchise in the world, right?
Story-wise, he ran into the director. The guy said, I love your work. He said, we're making a shooting movie in Romania right now. Sent him the script. He said, I love it. I'll do it.
Lance
Came
Henderson
back.
was just living in Romania at that point.
Well, he's shooting over. Regardless, he's great. He's great in this movie. Some of the best acting. He's a perfect villain. Also, who shows up at the party? The younger brother who's like, fuck you guys. I don't like you. I'm just here because I met a girl online and we're going to meet up at the party because he's like a social nerd and whatever. He doesn't date. He wants to bang some girl. The party's got all kinds of debauchery. They hang out with Lance Hendrickson. He's like, welcome new people. Let me take you to my basement. You can see all these like, babies in jars and like meat hooks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then he goes like, this place was built by Le Marchand. What the fucking...
Le Marchand?
Yeah, sorry.
Le Marchand?
I'm getting tired. It was built by him for some nuns. But I thought he just made the toy. Like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Some nuns lived here. And at one point, the nuns all went crazy and disappeared. And then later on, it was a hospital. And at one point, all the people in the hospital... This is pretty cool. He's like, they all came down to the surgery room, like the operating room. They doped themselves up on anesthesia and then dismembered themselves. Like, just, hey, we're on drugs. I can't feel it. Let's just cut our body parts off one at a time. Like, that's pretty cool. So he's trying to creep them out. So the place is, like, haunted. There's a picture of a nun on the wall as they're going downstairs. The Superman turns around to his buddy in front of the picture of the nun and goes, holy pussy. And this is where you go, oh my god, this movie should have been made in the 90s because it's trying to be edgy. But it's so bad it's good. At some points, it's so bad that you're like, this is hilarious, right? It's not actually good. It's bad, it's good, whatever. And so they're like, all right, let's go party. The cool thing about this party is they give you masks. And you wear a mask that has a 4-digit number on it. And it's like a papier-mâché mask, and everyone gets a phone. And if you see someone, you text or you call that 4-digit number, you tell them you want to have some anonymous debauchery. You want to bang with your mask on. Because they're wearing the mask, they pretty much have to be open to it, I guess. So the black guy, the JP Money character, is just like, oh yeah, you ladies is fine. Like, he's just trying to hook up and stuff, and he's just all in a good mood. Just totally over the top. They walk in, there's a chick walking around with no shirt on, and he's like, gratuitous tit shot. And Superman goes, no, necessary tit shot. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, this is a fourth wall breaking, like, movie stuff. Whatever. So they're just going around partying. The ex-girlfriend's, like, off on her own. The other girl's, like, looking for, like, she went to a prohibited area, and Lance Hendrickson's in there, and he's like, ooh, this is scary. He locks her in a chair. He's like, there's saw blades, and she's like, okay, I've had enough. Like, the whole point was this was like, it's all a game, it's all fun and games, but you want to be scared, but you don't believe any of it. Well, I'm going to scare the shit out of you, right? And he puts, like, these saw blades. He goes, well, they're not going to hurt you unless this pin's taken out, and then he pulls the pin out, and she's like, okay, I've had enough. I believe you, whatever. Saw blades cut her neck open and kill her, whatever. She's bleeding everywhere.
So Lance Henderson is Jigsaw.
He's now you go, oh, he's actually killing people. That's interesting. I don't know what this twisted, but whatever. But there's also weird shit happening. Like, she gets locked in a room, but it's, like, mysterious because she calls the police. The police show up, and she's like, I'm in the window. I can see you. And they're like, lady, there ain't nobody in the window. So it's kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. And Lance Hendrickson's like, sorry, guys, you can't come into my party because I don't want the cops here because all the kids are going to run away and shit. They're like, well, whatever. This is probably just a prank call. They leave. God, there's so many things. Because there's 5 people and they're off doing their own thing. It's like so many subplots. Basically, Superman's getting a blowjob.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all that really needed to be said.
And she's just like bobbing her head up and down, and the chair, it's the angle from like the top of the chair. He actually looks at the camera and smiles.
Gratuitous blowjob shot.
Yeah, that, totally like, hey, look at this. Like totally just like looks right at the camera. Oh God.
It's like all these fucking movies, like you don't need to live with them. Like you really don't need to watch them. But there's this one thing in the movie if you wanted to see
I'll
it.
always remember a Superman blowjob. This is the one that you talk about. Like, so none of them are fun. This is the fun Scream horror movie.
All right.
But it was just made like 2 years too late. I don't know.
Like if it actually had been made like 7 years earlier, like
it
it
probably would have been a decent movie around the Scream era. This is like well past that, unless I'm just like wrong with my ears.
Because there were all this Scream fucking ripoffs too. Like, as the Scream was this like,
you want to know how dated this movie is? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, on the phone.
Yes, there's a Verizon joke in there.
God, that doesn't even feel that long ago.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. So basically, they're all separated. The black guy's got asthma. He's dancing on the floor, and he drops his inhaler. It falls down the vent. Because, of course, vents are always on the floor, and they fall through. And he goes down to the basement to get it. Pinhead shows up, chops his head off with an axe, or a cleaver. Okay, so wait a minute. Pinhead doesn't kill people. Like, he hooks, right? And stuff. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why did he do this?
They didn't have the budget. That's right. They handed the cleaver to Doug Bradley and said, "What's this shit?"
Yeah, I don't know why.
I just stand around and you guys make the chains go places. What is this?
And what's funny
we
is
don't have the chains this movie, Doug. You have to do it with the cleaver.
What's really funny is the reason why they did this is because the actor had been in a movie previously, like a year before, where they had cut his head off, and they still had the mold of his head.
Of course.
So they're like, well, save money. Let's just cut his head off again. Whatever. Ingenuity at its best. So Pinhead's now killing people. Superman goes down there later on because I don't remember why. There's a hook that Lance Henriksen was like, don't touch the hook. They used to carry bodies out on that hook. Well, of course, he gets killed by Cenobites who show up. The teeth chatterer does a big crank, like Resident Evil style, like crank, and the hook gets him on his back and is like holding him off the ground, and he dies. And I was like, wait a minute. Superman can fly. How could a hook kill him, right? Things just don't make sense. There's no logic here.
No.
So Superman's dead. The ex-girlfriend and the younger brother are left, and they're calling each other on the phone, trying to help each other. And turns out, the phone ringing, turns out it's like, oh, it wasn't really him. It was a fucking fake one. Like, it tricked me to go here and stuff. Pinhead's there. She runs away, locks herself in the attic, and her old boyfriend's in the floorboards pulling her arm at one point. It kind of just devolves into like, okay, slashery run around, but like, okay, you locked yourself in. Everything, you're just safe now, I guess. Like, don't worry, they're not going to break the door down. She's just like on the phone with him, like, like, what happened to like the suspense and the tension and like.
Was there any suspense or tension?
Yes.
Oh.
They were running up 3 flights of stairs in this big mansion. They were being chased and stuff. And all the partygoers are gone now. And the place is empty. They meet up. She tries to want to run away in the woods at one point, and she gets a police officer who's just hanging out in the woods, right? Like, and the guy's like, "Okay, ma'am, I'll help you." And then fucking Pinhead stabs him in the back with like a spike or something. She's like, "Ah!" She runs back in the house. Like, first of all, why was he outside? Why was Pinhead in the woods?
See, this is what's like bullshit. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, you take these things, there's like metaphysical beings that are like, are they even like people? They're
right.
like, they're these fucking like embodiments of evil. Like, they're not like, it's not like fucking they're more like Freddy, It's not like Freddy's just gonna stab you.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
There's
he's
more
gonna
to it.
scare you and torture you and make you like fear and stuff. Yeah, whatever. She runs back inside. It's her and the younger brother. Lance Henriksen shows up and is like, having a good time, like, whatever. And she straight up roundhouse kicks him off the balcony. He falls into the foyer, like in the
Jurassic
middle.
Park 2 moment.
Yes, but
Did they foreshadow somewhere in the beginning?
Why
are you taking all those roundhouse classes, Ashley?
she at one point grabs a guy's hand who's like, "Hey, baby, I want to hang out with you."
They cut you from the roundhouse team?
Some guy tries to grab her and says, like, "I want to make out with you and dance." And she's like, grabs his hand and twists his arm and goes, "Get away from me." So, whatever. And like, it sucks because it looks like a body double or like a stunt woman, but it actually was her that did the roundhouse kick. And it's like, she's like, too bad you couldn't really tell it was me, but it was her.
Did you look her up after this movie?
I haven't. I kind of looked at her on IMDb and I'm like, oh, you haven't done anything. I thought she was somebody else. So they get out and they're like, God, they kick Lance Henriksen off the thing and they go outside and he's there in front of them going, boo, or something like that. Like, he's, I'm here too. And like, I don't know, he like buries him in a coffin or something, but they wake up. Here's the twist on this movie. The whole fucking time, they've been buried in coffins outside the house. He drugged them all because they, like, drank his alcohol or, like, touched his tarot cards, like, some of the, like, you know, cool things of Hellworld that he has. He poked her with a needle. The lament configuration, sorry. You know how, like, nobody ever breaks it? He hands the younger brother one at one time, and, it, like, spikes come out of it and poke him. They probably drugged him. Well, he drops the box on the ground, the box breaks. So there's your breaking...
So they're real fucking... They're made in China.
Yeah, so but there's your lament configuration being broken in one of the movies, at least.
You just have to drop them.
But it's not a real one,
They
that's
can be
why.
thrown through windows and they're just fine.
Yeah, they just, like, land in the street and stuff. So they're in coffins the whole time, and the 3 that died in the, like, you think that died in the house, well, they actually did die in the box because, like, the asthma guy had an asthma attack and, like, threw up all over himself and died, drowned in his vomit. Superman died of fear. Just died of fright. Like, nothing else. The other girl clawed her own throat out because, like, that's how she died, was this thing. So she probably was, like, trying to save herself and, like, ripped her own throat open. The police unburied them, and they're like, oh, I'm glad we saved you. Like, someone made a phone call to here, and they tracked the GPS on the phone to this exact location. And so he, like, kind of tells them, like, the whole thing was, like, or the cops, like, oh, he buried you guys, drugged you, and then their phones were in the coffins, and he was, like, whispering in their ear shit. So they were imagining the whole party, and, like, the way, what was happening to them in the party was he was, like, telling them over the phone, because they were all drugged up and crazy. He was like, now a girl's giving you a blowjob. You, like, you know, like, he, like, led them on, so it was, like, their own imagination that did all this stuff. And then, you know, Lance Henriksen's nowhere to be found. And you're supposed to kind of believe the dead boyfriend brother guy somehow made a call from beyond the realm to, like, save them or something. It's like someone made a call and she looks in the window and she's like up at the attic where she had seen her boyfriend charred body, that, you know, whatever. So you're like, okay, I guess the son. Oh, sorry, did I even explain the fact that Lance Henriksen is the boy's dad? The guy who killed himself? Lance Henriksen is his dad, and what he was doing was getting revenge on all the people who killed his...
For making him play a video game.
Yes, which the dad was a bad dad. They said you were never there in your life. Like, we didn't even know this was your dad. He was off gone doing whatever. But he's like, it's your fault my son got killed, so I'm going to torture you all. Okay. And then they get out, and the younger brother and the ex-girlfriend now kind of become a couple. Like, they kind of hook it up. By the way, this guy's on Degrassi. I knew he was from somewhere. So at the same time he's making a horror movie, he's also on fucking Degrassi. And they're driving in their truck, and they hear someone says something, and they look in the backseat, and Lance Henriksen's like, you know, like, here I am.
That's really rude to do in the car. You should put a window down at least.
Yeah. And then they swerve, and they look, and he's gone. They're just like, oh, God, like, we're not out of this or something. Who knows, whatever. So Lance Henriksen's in a hotel room.
This movie's still going?
It's still going.
How many more minutes are there left of this movie?
This is the end of the movie. He's in the hotel room. The reason why I'm talking about it, because it's actually a decent, fun movie, whatever. He's in the hotel room. He's got the box, and he opens the fucking box. And Pinhead and the Cenobites show up, and he's like, no. He's smoking a cigarette. He's got a bottle of whiskey. Like, this can't be real. I just got to wake up. And, you know, Pinhead just gives his little spiel real fast of like, nope. You want to, nope, you're not, we're taking you with us. And I think the chattering teeth one finally, like, swings this, like, bladed axe and cuts Lance Henriksen, like, double, kind of like the Resident Evil guy gets cut in half.
Because they had, like, half of Lance Henriksen from another movie that they needed lying around.
This was CGI.
Okay.
So in Resident Evil, the movie, remember the laser scene where, like, the guy gets cut? They kind of cut him into 3 pieces and he, like, slides apart.
Don't you mean from Cube?
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Hypercube.
Yeah.
Hypercube, right?
No,
the second one.
First Cube.
First one? Okay.
Yeah. That's the first scene.
Is it?
Think so.
Hypercube's the one that has, like, way weirder stuff,
I didn't see Hypercube.
Cube Zero's a good movie. Go see Cube
spend
Zero.
more time talking about Cube than talking about these.
Cube's a great horror sci-fi movie.
That guy's follow-up movie was good, too.
Didn't we also get that at Blockbuster?
Yeah.
That was another Blockbuster find, right?
Yeah. Cube's great.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I got it on Netflix afterwards. I got the 2 and 3 on Netflix. Who cares, right? Netflix, sponsor our podcast. So that's the end of the movie. Is like Lance Henriksen, like, after all that stuff, he gets chopped up by Pinhead Cenobite for being a piece of shit who opened the box. Special features. They're doing interviews.
We're going to summarize the special features.
The girl, the martial arts chick, she goes, oh, I don't know what it's something. I can't remember what she goes. Hopefully make a number 9. And it's just funny because when you see that scene, you're like, make another one. You're just like, don't make another one, you know?
But they have to keep the rights.
Yeah, so...
This is Dimension's been making these.
So let's talk about 9 for a second.
You can talk about 9. I saw the end of 9.
I watched 9. But let's talk about 9 in the sense that this movie was only made just supposedly they were going to lose the film rights to the movie. So they had to hurry up and shoot this movie in, like, you said, like, what, a week or something?
This is like Roger Corman, Fantastic Four style.
As fast as possible.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking? You don't know what I'm talking?
Not really. I don't care.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Other people might care.
So what's that story?
Nothing. It's just like there's this really, really terrible fucking Fantastic Four movie where like the effects are shit and the costumes are shit or whatever. There's a joke about it in oh god damn it, what's the Jason Bateman TV show?
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, where Maria Bamford.
I also have not watched that show either.
Have you not really watched that?
I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've also not seen a lot of stuff.
All right, we'll just move on from all of this then. All right, go ahead.
So basically, this movie was made
make it quickly to keep the rights.
Just to keep the rights, because there's probably an option in the clause for the contract is like if you don't make a movie within so many years, it reverts back to somebody else. It happens all the time in business. Learn your business, get smart. It happened with X-Men, didn't it? Was Fox or something like that? Sorry, okay. Enough detraction from this stuff. So this movie does not have Doug Bradley playing Pinhead because he read the script and was like, this looks stupid, and I don't agree with this. Like, this is all just a bunch of BS. They're only making this movie just to retain the rights. It literally all takes place within, like, one mansion in L.A. somewhere. They probably rented a mansion and shot the whole movie in the thing and on the street. Like, their Tijuana...
It's like a found footage movie.
Part of it. It's... So, okay, 2 kids that are like 18 and 19 are going to go to Mexico to go get laid. Tijuana! Every time I say Tijuana, they always say, Tijuana. Shut up. You're stupid. Stop saying Tijuana. Say Tijuana. It's Nico.
You remember the names.
I saw it too.
I can't even remember the names of the
fucking
fucking first few movies.
I watched it last night.
All right.
At 3 times speed. It's Nico Bradley. So, okay, real subtle on the Bradley. Doug Bradley, right? And... Stephen Craven.
Yeah.
Ooh, real subtle with the Craven, guys. Come on. It's a horror movie. This movie is the biggest pile of shit.
We had to get to 9.
What?
Before you'd say that.
Yeah, it took to 9 for me to admit that a piece of shit. This movie's a piece of shit. It's literally so many... I don't know what... I'm going to air quote homage. It's not a fucking homage. They took number 1 and reshot it with different stuff. Like... It's so it opens with these kids going to Mexico.
It's a reboot. It's a reimagining.
You can't see, but we have some really stupid looks on our faces of like, oh my god. So they go to Mexico. One of the kids bangs a hooker. The other one like walks in with his camera, and they're like, oh man, that was supposed to be my girl. If you fucked her, you're an asshole. And he passes out on the floor, and he wakes up, and he's like, the girl's dead in the stall, and he's like, I don't know what happened. She slipped and fell or something. We have to get out of here. And their car gets stolen. And so they're stuck. They're rich, privileged kids from LA. Their parents are both fucking rich. They came down here because they're like, we're white and we're privileged. And that life sucks. We have to go experience things. Some guy comes up to him in a bar and is like, you need experiences, huh? I got this box.
How fucking far away from it? The first guy in the first movie is like, no, you don't understand. Like, I've done this. I've been to clubs. So I've paid this much money to do this and that and the other thing, and I've seen things you would have never even fucking imagine. And now
this is literally one kid had sex with a hooker. She died, and he got a rush because he's like, I'm alive and I'm safe. So now he's the equivalent of like someone who's been searching around the world to pleasure his dick harder than anything he can imagine. Yeah, it's fucking dumb. The guy gives him a box, and he goes like, what's the price? And he goes, there's no price. It was always meant for you, Nico. Just like, oh, God, like, stop it. He opens the box with no shirt on, wearing brown pants, in a room with candles around him, exactly like the first movie when Frank opens the box. And then, of course, Pinhead shows up. He's like, oh, who are you? Leave me alone. I don't want this. The Pinhead voice, I swear to God they use audio samples from the other movies, but then it's also, like, original voice, and it's just like, you opened the box. You summoned us. Like, over and over they say that line. You opened the box, you summoned us. Oh, God. They take Nico, the douchebag, and while Steven's filming it, and he's just like in a corner going, hey, why, leave me alone. And then the families are all sad because their boys disappeared, and they don't know what happened to them, but for some reason they have all their belongings. They have the video camera, and the mom watches the tape all the time, and the parents get together, and they, like, have dinner, but they don't talk about it, and the sister to the... Oh, God, she was dating the guy who like, had sex with the hooker.
It's like one of those really embarrassing things where if you're rich and you have your rich friends come over and they go, what's the kid's name?
Steven and Nico.
Where's Steven and Nico? We don't talk about that.
So what happens is the families are best friends. The daughter...
They got into some trouble with an extra-dimensional demon being.
Whatever. The daughter was dating one and was brother to the other one. Jeez, it's just poorly shot. It's like a digital, you can tell it's shot digital. It's just like, did they even have a guy with a mic boom, or was it just like the camera's audio pickup? It sounds bad. It looks bad. I mean, the actors try to do a good job, but it's just like, this is a shitty movie. Oh, God. The brother shows up again because she finds the box and his belongings. She kind of opens the box. The box starts to open and she pushes it shut. It's like, has anyone tried this before? Like, as it starts to pop open, she just shoves it kind of shut and it's like, what?
It's like a huge tease. Like, somebody bites on the other side, like, oh.
There's an earthquake. The lights go out. The fucking brother shows up. Like, oh my God, Steven, here you are. Oh my God. Jeez, I have so many notes from this movie. The brother shows up. And he's fucking weird. He's like going crazy. They're like, oh, we got to get in the car. All the cars are gone. Someone stole the cars. They have no cell reception up in the hills because the rich assholes live up in the hills with no cell reception. And the landline's gone out, so they can't call the cops. They think like, oh, someone's fucking with us. It's like the cartel. Like, whatever. He was kidnapped and now they want whatever. Long story short, it's Nico wearing Steven's skin.
The sad thing is this is a short story short. How long is this movie?
It's an hour and 15 minutes with credits.
For a short story short.
Yeah, it's like about an hour. I watched this movie in about 30 minutes. It's the same thing as the first one. He's wearing the skin of his friend. They do a flashback where he's like getting him. Oh my God. So it's in Mexico. I don't know. I've never been to Mexico and I don't go to hooker areas in Mexico. Does anybody know, do they have Asian hookers in Mexico? Because in this movie, there are 2 times he hires a hooker and they're both Asian. In Mexico, speaking Spanish.
Are we sure these aren't the long-haired Asians from Inferno?
No, because they're girls, not dudes wearing chaps.
Okay.
Or like cowboy boots. I'm sorry, I'm not a racist, but if you make a movie where they're in Mexico getting Mexican hookers, shouldn't they be Hispanic at least?
Yeah.
They don't have to be Mexican. You could have gotten like Guatemalans or something. Just, they're straight Oriental. Like,
can't say Oriental anymore. That's offensive.
Oh, I thought that was a nice way to say it. I don't know. They're like, it's just weird. You're like, how am I supposed to believe this? This is, first of all, the movie's shit, so I don't believe anything anyways. But like, how am I supposed to follow it? Whatever. It's dumb. He kills hookers and he lets Nico like suck their life force out of him. So here's where they really crossed the fucking line with like, they've done everything in the history of gore. They've killed this and done that. He goes in there to kill the hooker. He hears baby crying. Of course, hooker's got a baby, right? Nico's like, fuck you, I'll do it myself. And he sucks the hooker, and he's like out in the hallway crying, going, I can't do this anymore. And he kills the fucking baby. You just hear a snap, and the baby stops crying.
And he sucks the juice out of the baby?
I guess so. Hey, baby juice is the best juice, right? What did Chris Evans say in Snowpiercer?
I know that baby flesh tastes the best.
It's how baby meat tastes the best, right? It's not just like he kills a baby. Like, no, it's off screen, but you hear crack. And it's like the crying stopped.
And that's actually the sound of the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah, just breaking.
It's been fucking downgraded to this little infant, this little weak infant, and then somebody just needed to put it out of its misery.
And then, Steven's like, I won't do this anymore, so Nico kills his friend and steals his flesh. And then wears it. And then there's a scene where, as he goes back to whatever, the no flesh body of Steven grabs the box off the table. And so obviously he's going to open up the box and call Pinhead. Whatever, back in L.A., he comes in with a shotgun and shoots his friend's dad. It's so confusing because it's like it's this actor, but he's playing this person because he's inside. Whatever. He shoots one of the dad with a shotgun. The other guy gets stabbed by the long-bearded freak who gives him the box and dies. And he goes, fuck you, Mom. You fucked my friend's dad. Yeah, the whole time I knew you guys were having sex, and it's your fault that I went to Mexico because I'm a white privileged piece of shit, and I couldn't stand that my parents fucked my friend's parents. And he tells the dad, your daughter I was the first one to fuck her. I was the first cock she sucked.
Oh, this was, he has the affluenza.
Absolutely. He's a Menendez / that other kid that just, whatever. And they're trying to be like mean and gory and like saying dirty stuff just to be edgy, and it just comes off so flat. And he's holding him hostage with the shotgun. He needs the girlfriend / daughter to open the box so that he can then go, and she's all like, one point opening the box and getting like orgasmic with like her friend's dad. She's like, there's something about the box. And like her mom's behind her going like, what the fuck is she doing? And like the other friend's dad's like, As if like, oh, I'm not part of this. She's being weird. He just goes, and like, as if like, yeah, I was getting turned on by that. Like, it's fucking weird. Anyways, he tries to tell her to open the box. She opens the box, and he's like, I'm going to make a deal with Pinhead. Take her. And then, if you want the rest of them, take them. I don't fucking care. But really just take her. And Pinhead's like, no. I want you because you escaped, you asshole. Like, the same exact thing from number 2 and number 1. There's nothing original in this movie. And he's like, shut up, bitch. We don't want you. Just sit there and be quiet, and I'll deal with this kid. You probably can go back home. I'm not going to steal your soul. And she says something, and he goes, what? And he rips her fucking throat open, which makes me think that she's the Cenobite from the first movie with the throat ripped open in the thing.
This is a prequel.
Exactly. I know. It's just so dumb. And then the dad says something. Oh, so here's the weird... So now that we're done talking about Hellraiser movies, here's the question. The dad takes the shotgun, which he still has with him in Hell World, and shoots Nico, the kid, while he's like hooked up on chains, and he goes, no one deserves to kill you but me. And Pinhead gets fucking pissed. He's like, he was my soul to take. You killed him. I don't understand the lore here, but I didn't think you could kill someone to get away from hell. Like, I don't get that.
Well, you're assuming there's any lore to begin with. I
mean, that's the thing. They tried to write it. They tried to write it in.
Here's the thing with that. Are we done? Are we done?
So he shoots him, and Pinhead gets mad because like, you took him from me. Like, I was gonna torture him forever, and I would have done such good vengeance for you. Like, Pinhead's like, I was gonna do you a favor, torture this guy for decades, and you fucking killed him. Which, he's dead. You still can't grab his soul? Like, what? And he goes, okay, well, I'm gonna take your wife. And he just chains up his wife and goes, that's what you get. And he goes, no, take me. And he's sitting there dying with a gunshot wound on him. He's like, no, you're not gonna live very long. I can't torture you very long. But you're going to hell forever. Like, how does it matter when you're going to... Pinhead rips people's skin off. Are you telling me they die and then that's it? Because he always says I torture people for long periods of time.
No, it's just a dumb fucking movie.
Exactly. And so he leaves the daughter, and he leaves the dad who's dying, and he takes his fucking wife, kills the other person, kills him, whatever. Steven is Pinhead number 2. There's literally another Pinhead in this movie.
Oh, so this is like a...
Here's Pinhead and Pinhead Jr. And he brings them pieces of flesh.
It's a Corey Feldman situation.
In Friday the 13th Part 3? Yeah, so he thinks that he brings Pinhead pieces of flesh, and Pinhead like takes nails and like jams them into his skin and like tacks the flesh to his head, so he looks just like Pinhead, but Pinhead Jr. The first time I saw that, I was like, wow, this thing, I mean, this is a piece of shit anyways.
So Hellraiser 10 will be Pinhead Jr.
I don't know, man.
Well, they're talking about rebooting it. We'll see.
They're done.
I don't think so. I think this is a franchise that I think most people don't know is a fucking franchise. First of all, I think that's like not even a thing anymore.
No, and I didn't know there was.
To go by.
I knew there was like 3 or 4 when we started this. I didn't know there was 9 of them.
I want to talk about other stuff, but let's what
before. Okay, so the dad dies and it's just the girl left.
You want to finish talking about this movie?
And the reason why Pinhead doesn't take her, he goes, oh, in due time, you're going to come around. I can tell you have it in you to be greedy and want the flesh, and life's going to end up like not enough for you, so you'll open the box eventually. And that kind of ends where she has the box, and she's like, I like having this box. And that's it. Now I'm done.
Now you're done?
It's a piece of shit. Hey, it's a total piece of shit. Watch every other movie but 7, 3, and 9. The rest are okay. 9's a piece of shit.
I will say...
It's called Revelations. You know what revelation I had while watching this movie? This franchise is fucking dead.
I can't believe you took you to fucking the 9th movie to decide that.
Sorry, can I also... Can I read my notes from this movie? 2 times in the first 15... This is how much I hate this movie. There's 2 times in the first 15 minutes where there's a character talking about another person, like another character, and they walk in the room behind them and overhear them. They do that once, and then 5 minutes later, they do it again. Like, that trope hasn't been worn out enough. They did it 2 times in the first 15 fucking minutes. Oh, God. The chattering teeth Cenobites in it, but now it's a female, because reasons. Gender equality.
Gender equality.
Right. Like, let's not just keep the same one we've had for 8 movies. We'll just make it a female because, we're edgy. That's cool, right?
They appeal to the female demographic.
Oh, God. He touches her lip like Frank touches her lip in the first movie. Like, again, another quote-unquote homage. It's just, nobody wrote this. They just literally just hacked together the first movie and made it for, like, the new age. That's it. That's all I got. And a mattress. She comes back on a mattress. A bloody mattress. Bloody fucking mattress. Again.
It's because they had the bloody mattress left over.
they just had it in the prop department.
They had to use it.
I'm done.
Okay, Rate the movies.
Like, in order?
Yeah.
Okay, so number one...
Is anybody still with us at this point? It's very hard.
We're coming up on 3 hours soon. We're like 2 hours and 40-something minutes. So...
You fucking... not every fucking movie we summarized.
Yeah, this is so you don't have to watch it. If you've ever been like, oh, maybe I want to watch all 9 movies, I'm going to put this in the beginning. If you ever want to watch all 9 movies, don't just listen to us for 3 hours. You'll save yourself 7 or 9... there's 16 hours of movie.
But some of it I think is actually worth watching.
Yes, but there's 16 hours of...
Well, rank your movies.
So, one still... I had qualms with the first one because it was poorly, like, shot. But in the end, number one is probably the most, like, a good, entertaining movie. I liked 2 at first, but now when I went back and watched pieces of number 2, I changed my mind on that one. I still like one more. I gotta go with 8 as my second favorite, the fucking video game one.
Because it's just so fucking...
Yes, it's just so bad, it's good. Then 5, the detective, and then 6 behind that one because 5 and 6 are practically the same fucking movie.
Now, at regular speed, do these get different ratings?
You
wouldn't know.
I would never watch these movies. Hey, I got a 2-year-old son and I got another one on the way. I ain't got time to watch these fucking movies in real time.
I wish I had watched them at 3 times speed.
That's for Interstellar. I will watch Interstellar in real time, but I'm not going to watch these movies in real time speed. And then probably 4. I like Bloodlines. And then it goes like 7, 3, and then 9. 3 is the second worst. 9 is the absolute worst. 7 is the third worst. Those 3 I would get rid of. Point blank, do not need to be in the franchise. Like, I don't like those movies at all. Except for the girl in 7's pretty attractive at some points. So I like looking at her. The rest are worth watching in some weird way. If you want to, like, experiment with it, it's fun.
I mean, I didn't... Mine will go quicker because I didn't actually see them all. And I'm not going to. But I think the first one is the best. It's still an interesting movie. It's on YouTube, but don't watch it on YouTube because
why would you even say that?
I don't know because it was just something that when I needed to go back and look at scenes, it was there. So
don't worry, I have a copy of all 9 movies.
Yeah, they're all streaming on Netflix though.
Did you hear the joke? Like we opened the box. Like I think what happened is we opened the Lament box and like all 9 movies fell out.
Yeah,
like that's kind of our personal hell now. At least mine.
Because you're just going to keep watching them over and over again.
I'm just going to start over at 1 and go, what did I miss? I'm going to watch them all again. Well, if it tells you anything, I've been watching the special features.
I have to... My reaction to stuff is more just like, am I getting bored? Like, that's like more than anything. And
watch these while I'm at work.
I
should be doing my job.
I'm like at home and shit, right? And I don't have very much like time to myself. So I could be like watching a good movie or like reading a good book or something. First movie's great. Second one held my attention. Like it's got interesting special effects and stuff like that. I actually think that the movies are ranked pretty well, and actually just in terms of like when they came out. Like the first one is the best. The second one is the second best. The third one is garbage. The fourth one's not as much garbage. The fifth one has
garbage. Are you from Jersey?
Yeah. The fifth one's like not. I ended up watching that just because you talked about it. You fucking watched it 3 times speed, and you're like, oh, it's actually this, and you just grab them. I'm like, all right, I'll go back for one more. I'll give it a shot. Oh, it's a fucking... for the people that are going to watch it at regular speed, that's a fucking slog of a movie. There's like fucking 5-10 minute scenes where he's just walking, or he's just looking at stuff. Good Lord.
That's why, the less dialogue there is in the movie, the faster I can get through it.
Honestly, I mean, my personal opinion is... Watch the first one. If you're really into it, watch the second one. Maybe watch the just skip 3 altogether. Watch 4. And I honestly don't think any of the I mean, you could just skip them all. I mean, you're gonna get the cultural like significance and relevance of just seeing like the first couple. You have to be really hardcore into it, or like again, a huge masochist, in my opinion, to like check these out. I'm so fucking bored. I so didn't want to watch them. I got so bored.
So all said and done, the only reason this podcast thing exists is because you know what? If I spent the time to watch all these damn movies, I'm gonna get something out of it. Because we're gonna be doing a longer project, comics and the influences on pop culture, mainstream, whatever, like Pinhead the character. Influence you see other places, like what came out of this. But for this, I watched 9 movies. It was its own project unto itself. So I can't keep this bottled up. Now I can finally let this shit go.
And if you've never, I mean, you may have never been a horror fan. You know what I mean? Like, if you've never done that, if you've always kind of scoffed at horror movies or only seen a couple, like, you just won't even, like, you're not even going to like waste time thinking about an exercise of like something like this. But if you're like a lapsed horror fan, like you haven't really like watched bad horror movies in a long time, or, you know, maybe you're going to find out you're a horror fan, like you should do something like this. Like this is the kind of exercise that like you really can only do if you went through one of those phases where you like watched a lot of horror movies. I don't think you would have done this if you hadn't had like a lot of horror movies to like back it up. Like, do you? I mean, you went through this phase,
because I watched a lot of horror movies when I was a kid, so it's like, it's not... Right. And when we were in our, like, college years, we did that a lot, too. So, I mean, it's not, like, out of the realm. It's just that I can't watch shit like Insidious and Paranormal Activity anymore, because, one, Insidious, I'm old now. I get scared of that stuff sometimes. They've
I think
changed.
It's funny you say I get old, so I'm older, so I get scared. Not like I was really young.
I don't know. It's just like they've gotten to like psychological scary now, which is the shit that fucks with me really bad. Like I get scared of the dark still. Like after watching The Ring when I was like a teenager, like that was the first one. The Ring set the bar for like, hey, remember when you're gonna go home at night? You want a nightlight? Because then it just went on and on. And some people say that shit's stupid, but like I don't get scared of monsters. I don't get scared of shit like that. But it was like Paranormal Activity type weird shit. Not for me. I can't do it anymore. Me and my wife I'm done. I'm a scared pussy.
Did any of these movies scare you?
And these aren't scary at all. Like these are fun
they
horror.
They scared me in a different way.
Did I say fun? They're not fun. They're just interesting horror movies.
The idea of listening to watching them again is kind of scares me.
So if you ever really have time to do the stuff, like pick another franchise. But it is fun because you know what we're doing next? We're doing Child's Play.
Oh, are we?
I think we should, right?
Before we stop talking about Hellraiser, honestly though, like because they're talking about like rebooting it and shit like that, do you think it's just done? Like there's nothing you can do with it?
It's so done.
I don't think so.
I think the people that made it are only going to get older. It's been what?
No, give it to a new generation.
It's almost been 30 years since the first movie, right?
Yeah, but the first movie's still
here's the problem. You give it to a new generation, that's what 9 was. It was like young...
No, it wasn't. That was like a cutthroat, we need to get a movie fucking done, direct to video.
It's about affluenza. It's about rich white kids that like live with guilt that like their life is boring. Like it's totally on the ball all the times of like, yeah, like stoners are like going to go rent this movie on video on demand and like watch it late at night like after playing Xbox and shit. Like it's just, it was made for Doritos generation.
Do you think maybe it's just...
You know what? It totally is a Walmart $2 bin. Like, you're walking by and you're like, oh, shit, there's like a $2 Hellraiser movie, and you're like 15, you'd buy that. Like, that's what that is.
Do you think this is actually just impossible at this point to...
yeah, it's because you can never get back to,
No, let me finish. Because it's not... Because so far, they've tried to reboot... They tried to reboot Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They just made like two movies out of it. They tried to do it with Friday the 13th. They tried to do it with Freddy. And they tried to do it with... well, those Chucky movies kind of just kept going.
Yeah,
they were really reboots.
See, but though...
None of them took.
So you're again.
Maybe it's impossible.
Kind of go back to the theme of it all. Pinhead is not really the main point of this. Everyone's going to remember Pinhead. He's on the covers of the movies.
Right.
The story behind these is the Pandora's box of I have so much curiosity. I probably shouldn't delve any deeper into this because it could bite me in the ass, but I can't resist it. That's what this shit's about. And that will not be translatable again. Like, they'll never get around to that. They can make another movie that has nothing to do with Hellraiser that could have that cool, like, thematic element to it. But Hellraiser's stuck with, you're going to have Pinhead. He's going to have to cut people up. And it's going to be like a slasher movie now. Like a scary...
I mean, like you said, though, it's been like 30 years. Hey, do you think at this point, like, a new generation doesn't know who
Paranormal Activity 5. It's Pinhead. It's been him the whole time.
What?
Paranormal Activity 5 or 6. It's been Pinhead the whole time. Jigsaw or Saw 9, whenever it comes out, it's just been Pinhead riding a bike. Like... That's what you're going to get out of it.
I feel like you could do something with it.
You could if you were smart, but no one's going to give you money.
Somebody could do it.
It's tainted. It's done.
It's tainted only if you remember it. If you're fucking 15 years old, you know what the hell Hellraiser is.
That brings up the big question of, like, why reboot all these franchises when name doesn't make you sell tickets? If you know what I mean? Like, if the people who...
Because it's still a cool concept.
Yes, but...
Because it's not just the name. It's actually a cool concept. You call it something else.
People don't remember.
Go back to call it... You know what you could do today, like, that you probably could do back then? Call it the Hellbound Heart.
It still sounds too fruity.
I guess it does sound kind of, like, still too romantic.
No, it's just that, like I said, like, if you made, like, the new Karate Kid... Like, the people who grew up with these movies that are being rebooted don't have the time or energy or care enough to go to the movies to see them. So the nostalgic factor people aren't going to buy tickets. And then the younger generation... doesn't give a shit about those movies because they didn't grow up with it. So what is the point of using the name? What was it? The Will Smith one he's doing. Was it the Karate Kid, right? The Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, right?
Uh-huh.
Why couldn't it just been called the Kung Fu Kid? The kids that went to go see it don't know what the Karate Kid is. So what does it matter? And then the adults don't give a shit. They're not going to go see it.
Yeah, it still holds some kind of.
It's just like marketing, but it doesn't.
But it seems like you're only proving my point. If nobody knows what the brand recognition is at this point, like.
But the only recognition they have is Pinhead.
Then it's fresh again, is what I'm saying.
You could.
If nobody knows what it is.
You could make a good Hellraiser movie. I could make a good. If you give me some money, I'll make a good Hellraiser movie because I understand. Again, we talk about reading the comics. Take some of those stories. Take the Tontine and take the Wordsworth or whatever it is. Like those are great stories that don't have anything to do with Cenobites or Pinhead, but they have to do with the idea of the puzzle and the whatever. Because
thematically, it's like you said, it's all about more finding your way to hell. Finding your way to your own damnation, essentially.
How many movie franchises can be dragged to the dirt this deep and somehow then make a good movie afterwards?
Well, the weird thing with the Hellraiser movies compared to like Friday the 13th, for example, is like Friday the 13th. I mean, obviously it's Halloween first, and then Friday the 13th. But there's formula, and it was a strict formula. And even though there's like things that are different that might be happening in every movie, if you think about the Hellraiser movies, like especially now that you've exhaustively described all of them, when you start thinking about it, like it's not really a lot. I mean, kind of formula, like somebody brings back somebody from hell and then gets them bodies, but even that doesn't happen every movie. There's actually a fair amount of variety in terms of, you know what I mean? Like even like James Bond movies, like they have this longevity because you do the same thing every movie, and that's what people go there to see.
Skyfall's so good.
Yeah, I like Skyfall. I don't know. I think you could probably do something with it.
You could, but nobody will. And the people who have money...
But they've done it with everything. I mean, Platinum Dunes did, like I said, they tried to reboot Freddy.
Were they good?
No, none of them were good.
Was the Friday the 13th reboot any good?
Actually, I really liked the Friday the 13th
remake. And I thought it was stupid because what you told me was like, oh, but it's supposed to be campy. But I'm like, no. Go watch the first Friday the 13th movie, and there's no camp in that movie. There is a camp. It's called Camp Crystal Lake. But it's not campy. It's a serious, kind of scary...
Yeah, maybe the first one is, but then it's kind of like that... When you think about a franchise, do you go back to like the original source material?
I don't remember that series getting campy until like 5 or 6. And really, I remember it mainly being like Jason Goes to Hell. Or no. There's one where they're having sex in a tent in the beginning, and like he just like jams the thing right through him and just like...
That's Jason Goes to Hell.
But the beginning of Jason Goes to Hell is when she's running around the woods.
It happens later, I think. I don't know.
Either way, like they knew the camp was there. Like that was the point. But I remember the other ones being scary movies where he was like stalking you and killing you. I don't know. It's just... whatever.
I mean, the movies do take place at Camp Crystal Lake, so...
What's wrong with that?
They make some campy.
I already did this camp joke. Stop. Oh, you're dumb. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up.
Yeah. God damn it. I can't believe you've described every fucking Hellraiser movie. I can't believe you remember every Hellraiser movie.
I only remember like five onward because those are the ones I've watched most recently.
And you know what? Like, I'm gonna like, again, like I like the first couple, but like I'm gonna fucking bury this franchise because like if you did that with Friday the 13th, like if you like I'm gonna sit here and describe the plot to the Friday the 13th movies. It's fucking amazing. It's an amazing like you're like and what that happened like that. When you do that with the Hellraiser movies, it's just like
convoluted.
It's just convoluted. It sounds messy. It's just like oh what like there's nothing going on in it. You know it's just
that's why it took 3 hours to get through them all because it's just like. So many things happen, and none of it's consequential to, like, actually making any difference in terms of, like, do I give a shit?
No, not at all. Not in the least.
It's just that by the ends always kind of have a somewhat of a twist. Not twist like a thriller, but, like, they always have to, like, if you don't know what happened in the beginning, the end doesn't really make much sense, but the end's not like, oh, he was like...
Yeah.
It's just that you have to understand, like, what were the motivations of the character sometimes and what brought them here. But what brought them there is just like you said, it's a slog.
Yeah. A fucking slog.
All right. If I could have spent 3 hours and got the entire thing done for me, I'd rather have done that and then watched 8 by itself. I liked 8.
We're going to find out what was harder to do, somebody actually finishing this podcast or somebody watching all these movies. Okay, so if you're actually still listening to this...
what's the next franchise we should watch all the movies of?
No, we're not...
but we're not doing Nightmare on Elm Street, and we're not... Well, I would do Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm not doing Friday the 13th because I've already seen all those for the most part. I haven't watched Nightmare on Elm Street in, like...
I've actually only seen the first one.
I've seen a couple.
Actually, I'm more looking forward to that because, like, I hear, like, Dream Warriors or whatever, like the third one.
I want to go watch shitty...
That's Frank Darabont's first movie.
No.
That's what he did right before he did
But you just told me that, so now I know. Let's go watch Leprechaun.
I'm interested in watching those. I don't know if Jennifer Aniston's the first one.
I know.
Yeah. I've never seen the Leprechaun movies.
I want to watch Leprechaun in the Hood.
It's going to be so hard to do that without, like, saying something horrible. Like even just talking about that movie, I think makes you racist.
All right, lovely folks, we're gonna cut it off. We're doing some more Hellraiser projects. No more movies. We're done.
Stuff that's better in the movies.
Yes, the comics are really good, and I haven't even read that many. Like they are really good. So, yeah, if there is a franchise you think would be really good though to slog through again, I'm up for it. I think it's fun. You know what? I have a new outlook on life.
If there's another franchise that you want...
What is the main thing to learn? The main thing of Hellraiser was you do not know what extreme pleasure is until you know what extreme pain is, which the 9th one tries to really exposition it out for you. It goes, the person who lived after a near-death... Oh, God, I can't even talk anymore. A near-death experience, every day for them is like the best joy in the world, right? Because they almost died.
Right.
I lived through 9 Hellraiser movies. I know what real joy is.
So watch 9 Hellraiser movies and then watch 9 Coen Brothers movies. That's what I would do.
All right, everybody. This is fun. Catch us again. We'll do this again.